Hi, Smith Jack, USMC here. Got my weekly devotion. I'm a little late, but that's okay. I had some time to think about it. So we're going to go to the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, reading out of the New King James Version. It's Paul, again, writing the letter, again, to the church at Ephesus. He says, I, therefore, a prisoner of the Lord, beseech you to walk worthy of the calling with which you were called, with all lowliness and gentleness, and with long-suffering, bearing with one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. There is one body, one Spirit, just as you were called in one hope of your calling, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. That's verses 1 through 6 of Ephesians chapter 4. Now looking at the word usage here, Paul gives his greeting as an example of his bonds to service. He's a captive of God's mercy. He says a prisoner of the Lord. He's a captive of God's mercy. He gave himself to God as a minister when he was young, and when he found out who God was on his way to persecute those who served Jesus, struck down by a bright light, and he says, Lord, who art thou? He says, I am Jesus whom you persecuted. Oh my goodness. Then his life changed. He gave all of his dedication and all of his energy into serving Jesus, who he found out was God, manifested in the flesh. All right, so he's a prisoner or a captive of this mercy that God has given each and every one of us, right? So, and then he says, I implore you. What does that mean? He does not implore you, but that's what it means. It means to, when he says, I beseech you, or I beseech you to walk worthy of the calling, he implores. He gives a very strong, pressing, more than it's not a suggestion. It's a directive. This is what you should do. You should walk worthy. What does it mean to walk? It means to live. When the Bible talks of walking, it talks about how you live. It's not walking through the park. It's your life. Live day by day serving God. Be worthy of the calling to which you were called. Right? Live up to it. Live up to the calling that you were given by God. What is that calling, you wonder? Well, just think about it for a minute. He says, being humble and kind, very patient with all others. That's me interpreting the words lowliness, very humble. Lowliness doesn't mean you're a cowering, pathetic individual. Oh, please don't hurt me, masters. Oh, please, great ones, don't hurt me. That's not lowliness. Humility. You know who you are. You know what you believe. But you're not out there pounding on everyone who walks by. Ooh, you're a sinner and you're going to hell. That's not humility. You're not going to win anyone's life like that there, Christian. Okay? Gentleness, kindness, okay? Kindness to others, an open heart, right? So you combine humility and kindness, so you're a person who's easy to be around. You're a person who people will be drawn to because you seem to have a spirit that says, I'm willing to give my time to you to show you something. I'm willing to take the time to help you. People care more about what you do than what you say. Your greatest witness is your life, not the big words that you say, not your big mouth and how loud and obnoxious you are. There's some tough talkers out there who can talk a lot of trash and can put you down and make you feel stupid, and they aren't winning anyone's souls. They aren't winning anyone's life. And anyone gives them the time of day, it's just to make them shut up long enough so they can get away. Right? Do you want to be that person? Or do you want to be the person that people are drawn to just because of your life is such an example of what God was, who Jesus was when he was here, right? All right, and with great patience. Patience is that long suffering. Long suffering. That doesn't mean what do people think? Long suffering. Like don't pray for patience. You ever heard that one? You'll get more than your fair share of persecution in your life because of God. You know, God's not some cruel maniac up there. So you want patience, do you? I'll hook you up. No. When you pray, God, help me and give me some patience. Help me to learn to be patient. He will teach you how to be patient. God will never put more on you than you can handle or get out of. There's always a way out of it. And it's usually through giving God the time of day, right? When things go bad, we go running to God. When things are good, we just go running to our wallet or whatever we think's best. When you give God daily devotion and daily time, he's already there in your life when things go bad. Jesus didn't promise you that your life would be, I hate this term, but a bed of roses. Well, you know, roses are very beautiful flower on top. Soft petals. They smell wonderful. But reach down and grab you a handful. Yeah, a handful of thorns. Life in the world looks very beautiful and soft and loving on top. But underneath, I tell you, my friends, there are thorns that will dig deep into your spiritual flesh and cause you to bleed. Leave that world alone. Okay? So, the other thing, let's see. Endeavor to keep the unity of the Spirit of the bond of peace. Whoa, what does that mean, dude? Endeavoring means you make a sincere effort. You do the best that you can. And actually, you do better than you can because you are limited. But with God's Spirit indwelling inside of you, you have now the ability to go above and beyond what your flesh can do. So you promote the unity, the unitedness of the body of Christ, of God's Spirit. See, by God's Spirit, we are all united together in one purpose. And that's for the glory of God, not for our own glory. We should be willing to sacrifice our lives for God's life, for his purpose. Because to live for Christ is to live for God. But to die for him is to gain. To gain what? Eternity, my friends. If you believe in God, then you have no fear to die for him, for his purpose. Because you know that the life beyond this is so much better. To die for the Lord, for your God whom you serve, and that's not any God. And I'm not saying whatever God you serve. You're going to see here in a minute what I'm talking about. I'm just going to get on with it, right? Promote the unity of the body of Christ, right? Not the body of Allah, not the body of Buddha, not the body of Krishna, not the body of Muhammad, or whoever. Just pick your false god, Moloch, whoever. They're not the body of them, but the body of Christ in the Spirit of God that dwells in his people. Yahweh, God, manifested in the flesh, Yeshua, right? The Messiah. We are to live in peace with our brothers and sisters, to strive to stay united. We have differences of opinion, but we agree on one thing. There is only one God. There is only one Creator. Why? The next verse says so.